Hey Trey, how's it going today? It's so fun to do these podcasts. We got a special guest today.
I'm pretty pumped about it. I'm really excited because I am hopeful that we might get some good advice around my kids. You and I are, we know what it's like. We're dads. We're family dads that just genuinely do want the best for our kids. But man, parenting can sometimes be hard, particularly around food. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, Kurt, I'm excited about your guest. Would you mind giving us a quick introduction?
Yeah, I'll say one more thing, Trey. I'm feeling old. Can you believe it? I have seven grandchildren now. Is that not unbelievable? I mean, we both
That's
have
wild.
three kids, but to think I've got seven grandkids, that's just cray cray. And I'm particularly interested in nutrition right now because I have one that's just gone through a second open heart surgery the first 3 months of their life. They're doing great, but it really makes you see how important it is for your body to be strong, to go through whatever it has to go through. And, in life, Trey, we get I think God gives us good friends and good relationships. And you certainly can use your insurance, choose your doctor and go to your doctor, but it's nice to have somebody that you can call and just walk you through crisis in life. And our guest today, Valerie's been there for me from Hope, when Hope had a baby, and questions we had about our kids and now our grandkids. And I trust her. I trust her. She's been in family and in pediatric practice for I think over 30 years now. She can tell you exactly how long, but she's in Jacksonville, Florida. And Lori and I have loved getting to know them. We've had trips together. We've golfed together. I've golfed together with her husband. And so you do life together, but then you battle these important topics together. And Valerie, thank you for making some time with us for us today. Can you just kind of tell our audience maybe what connected you with this product, this Healthy Starts mission? I mean, why has that become so important to you outside just the traditional methods of medicine?
It's such a great question. Well, started in pediatrics a long time ago, like you said, and it wasn't until I got out into my first regular practice as a young doctor. You don't think I never thought I knew everything, but you run into things that you don't know and you have to learn more about, and you
Mhm.
expect that. But I moved to a smaller town in Colorado from a big city where I trained. And it was the mid 90s, so it is 30 years now. It sounds like a long time. But there were people asking questions that I had knew nothing about. And it all surrounded what was called alternative medicine at the time. And since then, these two fields of kind of medical, straight Western medical and alternative medicine, which a lot had to do with other forms of medicine around the world that had been around for thousands of years, and blending those two together. And now there's so much science that backs up a lot of what I've been doing for years that it's exciting because we don't need medicine for everything. So I was always that doctor. I was always of that mindset because I was very intrigued when I started learning these things that people were asking me about. And so I feel like since then I've been able to help people so much more than if I was straight in the tunnel vision of American medicine. And I will say that American medical healthcare system has saved my life twice.
Yeah.
So it is very good at that tertiary care, and I would never ever want to live anywhere else. But I feel very lucky that I'm one of the many doctors now in this country that practice medicine this way, more proactively looking at root cause and that kind of thing. So I had moved from Colorado to Florida and was trying to find my way in a place that wasn't as holistic back in 2000. And I started my own practice because there really wasn't anything around. And since 2000, I've been running my own practices and practicing primary care and pediatrics with an integrative medicine approach, which means just blending these worlds together.
Yeah.
So when a mom told me about her kids were sick all the time and they were in all the time. I saw her twice a month probably for a couple years, and then all of a sudden I was doing a checkup on her kids and they hadn't been in for a year. And I said, whatever you're doing, keep doing it because this is great. That this is what I want to do is just, I would do well checks all day long. It'd be great. Keeping kids healthy. And she said, well, you've heard about Juice Plus, haven't you? And of course I hadn't.
Yeah.
This is 2004. And she said, well, ever since I started them on this stuff called Juice Plus, they hardly ever get sick anymore. And one of them was also having mental health issues that had improved. And, these are cases. So whenever I talk about Juice Plus, I always give that disclaimer of, you're your own science experiment. We're all individuals. None of us are a carbon copy or a cookie cutter, sort of each other. So we have to make sure that you understand all Juice Plus is fruits and vegetables, which is what I didn't believe at first. I had to have the bottles and understand what they were, and had my whole ethical issue with talking to people about Juice Plus. That was a long journey. The medical AMA Code of Ethics actually supports Juice Plus more than any other nutritional supplement I've seen. And there's a code called 9.6.4. And it's not an ethical struggle if you read that for a healthcare professional. But it took me a while. And so I became intrigued about Juice Plus. She taught me more. I wanted to give it to my family. We had our own experience with it. And then I had probably 2 or 3 years that I was just felt like I had a key lock on my mouth with my patients. And I saw one patient one day that I could not keep my mouth shut because that child had horrible eczema, wasn't even 2 years old yet, and hadn't slept a day in her life, a night through in her life. She was so miserable. And the mom had done everything medical. She'd done everything. She'd been multiple specialists and done everything. And she came to me because she heard maybe I, was a miracle worker, I guess. I said, you've done everything. The only thing I can think of is Juice Plus. Do you know about it? Because there's all these studies on inflammation that show the body's, it has lower inflammation when you take Juice Plus, and that's what eczema is. And she said, where do I get, she was desperate. Where do I get it? And she wanted to cancel her follow-up appointment that was set for 4 weeks later at 3 weeks because the child was 80% better.
Wow.
For the first time in her life. And that's what happened to me, Curt. I said, what? And she said, yeah, I want to cancel. I said, you can't cancel. You have to bring that child in here so I can see it with my own eyes, because she hadn't done anything else. She'd already done everything. She had stopped all that stuff that she was doing before. So again, this is what we call in medicine an N of one. This is one person who's like this person who happened to get better on Juice Plus with science-backed reasons that she got better. So I was always coming from the science as I recommended Juice Plus. And I have been so delighted to see with my patients who take Juice Plus all the time, the effects straight from the science, that they're immune, they don't get sick as often, they have inflammatory conditions get better, and so on and so on. So that, I know that's a long answer to your question, but that sort of tells my story.
Well, I want to, before we dive into just your expertise and what I really want to hear, and I know these parents and grandparents want to hear, I want to connect the dots because I'm a dad. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a nutritionist, but I know from your stories, you've gone through some health battles. I've gone through some health battles, and our bodies were resilient to fight through them. Just real quick for the audience, I was 18 days in the hospital with COVID. I was on, I wasn't on a ventilator, but I was on such high doses of steroids to get over that. They told me that I had diabetes and, metabolism problems, and it ended up, I have insulin resistance, but with diet, exercise, and Juice Plus, I'm off all those medicines, and I'm able to deal with that. But it's not just Juice Plus, it's lifestyle decisions too. But you're glad that you have that in you. But what I've seen to validate what you're saying, I have the 7 grandchildren now, and we put our kids on Juice Plus, but we hadn't learned the lessons of programming their little bodies early. Because I think when I finish this, I'd love for you to talk about that 12 to 18 month window you were telling me about earlier. My grandkids, like Hope, we were at Disney World, and that child won't eat ice cream. She doesn't like it. She's so programmed to eating. She'd rather chew on a piece of broccoli than have an ice cream. When we put Hope says, I'm going to treat you. She put the ice cream at Disney World in her mouth, and she spit it out. She didn't want it. And but
That's a great story.
Yeah, but my daughter has programmed her taste buds and programmed her, and I think you've said that's really what we're doing. In addition to putting Juice Plus in their bodies, we're kind of programming the next generation.
That's right. It's so exciting that the science has just exponentially risen in the last 2 decades. I think it's been from 0 to thousands and thousands of articles every month coming out about the gut microbiome. And most people have heard of the microbiome. We're actually mostly bacteria, not human cells. We have up to, well, they think 5 or 10 times as many bacterial cells in our body as human cells, and 100 times more DNA of bacteria
Wow.
than human. So we are so like 99% programmed to be whatever the bacteria want to do, kind of. So you have to really respect those bacteria in your body. And now we know most of them are in the gut, and what we eat is their fertilizer. So if we eat we know the good stuff and the bad stuff, basically, right? If we eat a
Right.
lot of sugar and processed foods and ultra processed foods, chemicals, we are feeding the bad guys who are helping our health be worse. And if we eat the good stuff, the fruits and vegetables, honestly, what we came to the planet with, all we had to eat for many thousands of years was just the plants on the planet and the fish in the sea and the animals on land. We didn't have anything else. And so our bodies are so well programmed because it's only been for the last 100 years or so that we've had other kinds of food, which if food doesn't rot, by the way, you shouldn't eat it. The bugs don't even want to eat it.
Yeah.
The mold doesn't want to eat it, right? So we need to lean towards and really lean into lots of plants and just earth-bound foods that we had forever, because these bacteria, that's all they know. They're ancient. And so we want to feed the good guys, which should be about 80% of that microbiome, so that we have the best health. And these thousands and the tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of articles that are the scientists all around the world being fascinated with this prove that out. You mentioned diabetes, and it's so interesting because our weight we can be perfectly fit but heavy when we do working out and all these things to help us eat healthy and all that stuff, because there's certain populations in the gut that are associated with obesity, for example. And Juice Plus has a wonderful study looking at gut health. And what we knew for years, and we were waiting for this study for so long, was that we were hoping that it showed what it did, which is it helped the microbiome be healthier and moved it. The more fruit and vegetable nutrition you can get in your body, however you can get that in, is going to feed those good guys and make your microbiome healthier, which then in turn makes your whole body healthier in your brain and every organ. So when you look at picky eating, it is a real deal. It's not easy as a parent. It's so frustrating. But where it happens, and this is just watching what's happening over 30 years, is at 12 months, most babies will eat anything. They'll eat anything you put in front of them. So the parent gets the idea that this is a healthy eater. And it's not. It's because the baby's hungry and they'll eat everything. So you put good stuff in front of them, they'll eat it. By 15 to 18 months, the growth curve slows down. They don't need to gain that much weight, so they're not that hungry. So then they say, ooh, I like the taste of that better than the taste of that. So I'm going to eat more of that. And it's usually fruits and carbs. And then fruits and carbs, it's not that they're unhealthy. They just happen to have more sugar in them, right? Starch and sugar. So they end up feeding the bad populations of bacteria, and then they talk to your brain. That's the gut-brain connect. One form of the gut-brain connection is they tell your brain, I don't want that, or I'm craving that. And then the baby just goes that direction. And so if you're long past that phase of life as a parent, and you've got a picky eater, or you are a picky eater yourself, I know a lot of adult picky eaters, all you have to do is trick your microbiome to flip it. And then you start craving the healthy food. I've seen it happen so many times. Kids asking for spinach after taking 8 or 10 months of Juice Plus. It's slow. It's food. It takes some time, but it really works. And then you've got a healthier microbiome. So then you're actually preventing disease. I want to tell you one quick thing. A landmark study is going on in Sweden, and they have already proven, it's been going on for 20 years, looking at what is happening. Can we predict neurodevelopmental disorders? What's happening in the body? And they catalog every single person that's born there. So they've been collecting stool and all these things, and they figured out that there is an inflammatory event of some kind. Either you're really, really sick in pregnancy, during labor and delivery, or in the first year of life. And that can be a course of antibiotics, anything like that happens in that period. And you have set yourself off on the wrong track, potentially for life.
Wow.
And you are more likely to be diagnosed with a neurodevelopmental disorder like ADHD or autism in childhood.
That's amazing.
So they're figuring out, okay, what can we do about that? Well, what we can do is we can give probiotics and, healthy things for the gut. Like you can take all the probiotics you want, but if you do not give them the food they want to eat, they do not stay alive. So you need both what's called prebiotics, um, the food for the good bacteria, and the good bacteria itself, and so fruits and vegetables plus probiotics.
Well,
And then we can set them on the right track.
I have a question for you. I love that Sweden study, but you get me excited as a parent, and fortunately, I do get to help influence my grandkids. Sometimes grandparents don't get to, but we get to
Mhm.
influence because we've got all them on Juice Plus. And in an ideal world, getting to the place you're talking about, doing the right things that first 12 to 18 months, that's what we all should do. But we know life doesn't work that way. It's not as easy to do as you explain the benefits of it. So, how did
Yeah.
Juice Plus come about and become? And I'm sure you've used it in your practice, but we're really talking about this opportunity that our founder Jay Martin created because he saw that yes, even if we laid out there what the ideal path would be, there was going to be a gap. We were going to have to
Mm.
bridge the gap somewhere because I mean, how many times did you tell a mom or a patient to eat better and compliance was pretty low?
Yep, that's standard.
Yeah,
Yes. It's hard,
yeah.
and people feel like it's expensive. It's not necessarily, but that's how people feel.
So, but did Juice Plus become? I mean, the first generation, my kids, Juice Plus was it helped me as a guilty parent. We'd see grocery bags that said 5 a day for better health, and our kids would not eat anything green unless it was covered in ranch dressing. It was like there was,
Right.
yeah, there was no way. So it took the guilt out of us. Like at least they're getting their Juice Plus. But we
Right.
didn't. We had missed that little window of training them in that first
Right.
12 to 18 months. So we were bridging the gap, doing the best we could. How can a parent that's maybe listening to us for the first time, this is the first time they've ever heard of Juice Plus, if I was your patient with kids coming into your office, why would you tell me my kids should take Juice Plus? What would be the logic behind? Today I would call it an investment in my kids' health. They might call it an expense if they're parents that are at a high
Yes.
spending place. But there's some tools like the Healthy Starts program that you have at your fingertips to offer.
Yes, I love the Healthy Starts program because it first of all saves the family money, which I'm always about. And it helps encourage the parent to take Juice Plus also. So when an adult has an order of Juice Plus, the child can get theirs for free as long as they're 4 years old and up, all the way to 25 every year until they're 25.
Until
So it saves
actually
them so much
until
money.
they're 26, I think. It's
Turning
that's
26,
right. Yep.
right?
Yep.
Yeah, so that's number one. But number two is most parents, especially moms, don't think about themselves. They're under a lot of stress, and dads too. And the stress causes inflammation in your body. It causes dis-ease. And so taking Juice Plus daily helps you also as an adult even that out. So I love the Healthy Starts program. It also says, just like you said early on, there are other foundations besides nutrition. We need to sleep. We need to drink enough water. We need to exercise. That they also incorporate into this program and teaching people and helping them make it fun and all of that. So I love that program. And I think that when you have, to your point, older kids, like a lot of people do, I have a lot of people come by the time they're 7 or 8, going into 8, 9, 10, they're getting pretty resistant. And
Yeah.
so it's hard to influence them at that age. So Juice Plus is a way, and we talk about bargaining,
Yeah.
well, what are you going to do for me if I'm 12 and I don't want to take that. So we talk about fun ways to make that happen, but that this is like a seat belt. You would never put your child in a car without their seatbelt on. It's just the car won't go.
Yeah.
That's what I used to say. Well, I first dangle the carrot. We're going someplace fun for you. When you click your seatbelt, we'll go to grandma's house or whatever it is. And it's just non-negotiable. So that's how you have to start. And then what you'll see is this. I have great stories that I could tell you. We don't have enough time, but that over time, the tastes just change.
Yeah.
They just do. I've had autistic children who would not put a soft chew gummy like we have with Juice Plus in their mouth ever, but bargaining with something they love, getting in the pool was one in the middle of the summertime. Take this and you can get in the pool. And he held out for 3 days. And after 3 days, he grabbed one, put it in his mouth, and jumped in the pool and chewed it and swallowed it. And that was the beginning for this child of improvements because of the gut and the brain connection, improvements in his autism. I can't say Juice Plus will improve everybody's autism, but what it will do, I know, improve inflammation, improve the gut brain connection, improve, I can go on, the immune system, all of that. So I hope I answer your question because I get excited about all that stuff.
No,
It's really,
I get excited too because it is frustrating as a parent, and I hear other parents
mm,
that frustrate me. Even Trey, if you want to jump in here, I know Trey has got
yeah,
3 boys, and he's got picky eaters, and his wife deals with some health challenges. But his wife's actually a doctorate in teaching special needs students.
oh, that's great.
So Trey, maybe you got a question for Valerie. You want to jump in?
Yeah, no, I mean, more than anything, I just want to affirm something you had said. So, my kids, they are picky, particularly my youngest. But my son Kai, who has Down syndrome, like he does not forget to take his gummies every night, right? Like
Yeah,
it is just ingrained in his routine. I sometimes wish that that routine happened before he brushed his teeth, but we're gonna just take the win, right?
take the win.
We're gonna take the win. But he is so good, and that's one of the things that I think is great about the product for Healthy Starts is it's so accessible for kids, right? Like it just makes sense for them to go and grab it. It's not a huge fight.
Right.
Um, I guess like one of the questions I have for you is what are the what are the questions that parents are asking you when they come to you that you're like this these are the questions that those parents might be asking that it's like this is when I would introduce Juice Plus into the equation.
Yeah. I would say the number one question is my kid gets sick all the time.
Hmm.
And that is an immune system thing, right? You want your immune system to be as healthy as possible because you're exposed to viruses all the time. We've had a bunch of weird stuff going around this summer, just GI viruses and weird rashes and fevers all over the place. I wish that summer could be quiet for kids, but there are some kids that just seem to catch everything. When somebody walks by, they're catching their virus. And so you want to build that foundation, which I always say the immune system takes 4 months to completely 100% turn over. So if you start something today on a daily basis regularly, that's going to feed your immune system cells at this higher level and give them a lot more nutrients than they've been getting, they'll be happy and reward you. And by even the 2 month point, so if you're heading into winter at the point you're listening to this, then you want to start now because you'll have a 50% new immune system full of enrichment in each cell so that it can function better, so that it can fight off more viruses. And so that's probably the number one question I get. And I think for me, it's been a change over time because I was very skeptical when I first heard about Juice Plus. We could talk, but it took me years, right? And what I have discovered over the years is that whenever there is any kind of chronic condition or there's any deficiency in the diet, we have to eat lots of fruits and vegetables to really maintain a healthy system inside, way more than most people think. For little kids, it's 5 a day now, little kids. And then it's 7 to 9 in the school age kids. And it's 9 to 11 for women. And it's 11 to 13 for men and pregnant women and lactating women. And so it's way more than most people can eat. And by the way, it's 2/3 vegetables and 1/3 fruit, which is usually the opposite of what most people do. And so it's just hard for everybody, I would say, to get in that balance and to really have a system inside that's as close to optimal as possible. So this is just the assist. It's just like a basketball game where you've got the guard throwing you the ball and you otherwise wouldn't be able to score. It's just an assist. So I love it.
Valerie, I want to. I think you probably get this question, and maybe you thought of it, maybe you didn't. But you and I have learned, and you as a doctor in a deeper way than me. But Juice Plus is not a vitamin. I'm sure you get asked all the time,
That's right.
what vitamin should I take? And we all think
Oh
of
yeah,
the
that's a good one.
Flintstones. Do you ever get asked that?
Yeah, I get asked that all the time, and I always refer back to, especially when the question is, my kid gets sick all the time, what vitamins should I take? There was a study with Flintstones that is a multivitamin chewable that was very, very popular, and now there's lots of them. And what it showed was they studied kids whether they got sick over the winter with Flintstones or nothing. and it was the same. So whether they took Flintstones or they took nothing, they got sick just as often. So it essentially
Interesting.
did nothing. And when you look at Juice Plus and how often people get sick and miss work, there's some very good studies internationally that have been done by doctors, not the company, on Juice Plus that show people get sick less often, even under very stressful conditions, which is bad for your immune system and your body to be under stress. They still got sick less often. So it's just a no-brainer
Yeah.
with the science like
Well,
that.
as we land this plane, and I wanna tell everybody how they can actually receive the benefits of this foundation. But I have one more question for you, and I wanted to ask you that if all this research that's out there, I know we have a lot of clinical, double-blind, placebo-controlled research, but we also have another statistical research study that's one of the largest
And
studies in the world. Can you just tell them a little bit about what we've done to prove that it works? This Healthy Starts program, it's actually impacted millions of people.
that's right. And the study you're referring to was a prediction, which was not done by the Juice Plus company, but by outside researchers looking at, with all the studies that have been published on Juice Plus previously showing the positive results on all the systems that I mentioned. By the way, you can find this online. And if someone invited you to the call, you can ask them where that is. All these, you can see every abstract if you're a healthcare professional and all of that. But all of those studies over time, if everyone took Juice Plus, what would happen over time? And they ended up showing that it was mind-boggling the amount of cardiovascular disease deaths that would be saved, people's lives would be saved, and then money was over $1 billion
Wow.
that would be saved over time if everybody took Juice Plus.
Yep.
And so you put it down to a personal level and say, okay, well, how much money can my family save? And how many people could we help live longer and be healthier while they're there? So it's sort of the cherry on top of all those studies. I'm glad you asked about that.
Yeah, and Valerie, I mean, as a physician, she's brilliant, and I love her to death, and I love her mind and her wisdom. But I also love, there's a simple study too that just talks about how many soft drinks your kids are drinking,
That's right.
I mean, how often do you go to the doctor? How often do you take over the counter and prescription medications? Just just flatline simple stats that a mom and dad would
That's right.
notice at a grocery store. That's had a dramatic impact too, don't you think, Valerie?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's what I share with people. Look, these statistics are there, and that's from the Healthy Starts program, which has been going on for years and years. It was one of the things that I saw first, that I love the statistic going to the doctor less with your kids and adults. These both got asked questions because I want to see the well kids. I want to help get them to well and keep them there.
Yep.
And I spoke to a colleague of mine and told them I was so excited about that. And they said, they're a pediatrician. Why would I want that? That would affect my bottom line.
Oh my gosh.
And I said, most doctors aren't like that.
Yeah.
I have a peer group that nobody is like that, but that is in the system. Unfortunately, we are a sick care system. And so if you're personally thinking about your own family's healthcare and you want it to be positive, you really have to be the primary care provider for your family. And your doctor is your secondary care provider. You make the good decisions first.
Well, Valerie, that was, I mean, beyond amazing. I think parents feel equipped after what you've shared with them because
Yeah.
there's this trust and knowing relationship that you're not just another mom. You're actually in the battle with these kids all day, every day. But I want to land the plane with the offer here because those of you that are listening, you're hearing us talking and you're probably like, okay, I mean, how do I do this? How does this happen? And I've got to give credit to Jay Martin, the founder of our company, because many years ago, when Juice Plus took off, and even today, it's with all of our research, it's one of the most medically researched nutrition products in the world. Not just it stands alone, but what Jay noticed, the founder of our company, he said the people that need it the most, these adolescent young children who are eating the worst, whose parents are not yet making the most. They're in that young emerging parent generation where they're not making the most in their careers yet. They have high expense years. Those kids are missing out, and we're not going to leave them out. And so this foundation was formed to fund the Healthy Starts program. And Valerie did a great job explaining to you that it means that as long as you as a parent take it, your child gets it free from age 4 until they turn 26. And all you have to do is connect with a Juice Plus partner, and they can give you a link where you can directly enroll in the program. And the cool thing is you can be a part of that study too if you want to, where you can see how your child evolves and gets better and better. And they can take the capsules, they can take the gummies. And as an adult, you can take our capsules, gummies, or our superfood powders that all have this research back in it. And we're excited to talk to you about this. And there couldn't be a better time. As school's starting back, like Dr. Miles said, you're fixing to battle the consequences of winter and flus and immune things. And your kids have been in your house all summer, and they haven't been with 30 students and in lunchrooms with hundreds of students. That's fixing to happen. So, Dr. Miles, thank you so much for being with us today. I hope you have a good day, and it's been amazing. Trey, you want to wrap us up and tell everybody where they can find this down the road? And I know you want to thank Valerie too. So,
Yeah. So, I do have one more final wrap up question because much of our conversation has been directed towards parents, right? But we also know that part of being a Juice Plus partner is sharing the story. But here's the thing. We're not all experts. We're not all medical doctors. The you do not want me giving medical advice, right? But the thing is that that's part of this story and this message in our lives as we are trying to share about this product. What would you, Valerie, is kind of like closing us out, like how would you encourage someone to have confidence and also at the same time, yeah, like be able to share their story well, without feeling that like, oh gosh, I feel like I'm not a doctor, you know?
Yeah, I struggled with this for years because my family has been taking Juice Plus since '04. And so we were having great experiences and I was learning all this science and even being a doctor, totally understanding all the science, I still struggle with this. So I'm glad you asked. I think what I had to do was and what I think works is to find in you that compassion for other people, the understanding that you actually, this is a gift that most people don't know about. I'm very excited that Juice Plus isn't just on the shelf with other vitamins in the health food store because it's so different. It's whole food, it's plants, it's not vitamins, but it makes it harder for people to learn about. And so we're the only people that can tell others, and then they can make their decision. And you don't have to be a doctor or any kind of healthcare professional or understand science at all, or, you could hate math, all that stuff. You don't have to know any of this because there are so many experts way beyond me, all these researchers who have done excellent work in high quality research papers. And people like me are the ones who synthesize it for you so you can just share that gift. That's really what it is.
Wow. Thank you.
Mhm.
Well, for all of us that are joining on Facebook and YouTube, we're glad you're here. You can catch this podcast on anywhere you really get podcasts. Life is What You Make It with Curt Beavers. If you search Curt Beavers, it's the easiest way to find it. But we love doing this and we love sharing not only about how we can make our homes and families more healthy, but also to figure out how do we make a life, not just a living. And so you can find Curt anywhere that it's Curt Beavers. He's everywhere there is. And yeah, I'm glad that you guys can join us. Valerie, is there anywhere that they can connect with you?
I'm at thrivewellpediatrics.com. That's my practice in Jacksonville. And so you can always contact me through there.
Awesome. Curt, any last words here?
yeah, I just appreciate Valerie. Valerie, tell Greg we appreciate him sharing you for a few minutes, and look forward to seeing you in Indy. And
Yes.
we're talking about this, and Valerie talked about microbiome and our gut health. Skylar, our vice president of sales, did announce last week, Valerie, that we will have a new product in Indy. And I'm just hoping it has something to do with that because I know our company is doing a lot of investigating into the microbiome and how important it is. So I can't wait to be in Indy and
Yes.
find out.
Very excited too. Very excited.
All right. Thanks. Talk to y'all later.
Bye, everyone.